This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
So, welcome everyone to the July 10th, 2023 meeting of the Community Relations Committee. This is a hybrid meeting offered in person and with remote access as allowed by state law. So I'll just start by restating our mission of the CRC, as we call it, to promote positive relations in the city of Easthampton and help to make all residents and visitors with diverse beliefs and backgrounds feel welcome here. So we'll do a call. Well, I'll do a roll call first. So Mary Ansara.
Here.
Rebecca Passa.
Here.
Jan Norman. Not here. Marla Solomon.
Here.
And myself, Emily Britton. Okay. So I think we should start off by discussing the order of the agenda and potentially reordering it a bit, and also talking about when we need to definitely have a hard stop on this meeting. First of all, when would people definitely need to leave? No judgments from me.
Well, I guess we haven't had a meeting for a while.
Right.
We always have more than we can get through.
Exactly.
Logically, it would stop at 8, but I'd be okay going to 8:30.
Okay. Okay. So fine.
Sounds good to me
too. Okay. Okay. So, we definitely need to start with Troy. So I actually might recommend that we start with agenda number 5, item number 5. And
we'd have to return to public speak after.
Right, we can return to public speak after that. And then we should definitely make sure we get through procedures for our work. And we should definitely make sure we get through number 7. In a way, I don't know that announcements even needs to be said in the beginning. Oh, and then we should make sure we approve the minutes.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that people feel like we definitely need to make sure we get through?
Current status of the proposed dialogue on race.
Okay.
And also the difficult conversations. Where is that?
Right,
training?
that is announcements right now. So I can do that.
But let's do that after Troy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Why don't we do it right after Troy, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 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 So thank you, Troy, for being here. Just this came to my attention through Owen Zarrett, one of our counselors. And it seemed like something that our committee should work on. We haven't figured out in what capacity, so that's what we want to discuss tonight. I think a question I should introduce you to the public, first of all. You are the tribal sub-chief and council member for the Hasanamisco Nipmuc tribe. Did I say that?
That's correct. Thank you. Yes, my name's Troy Phillips. I represent Hasanamisco Nipmuc Band. I am a sub-chief, which means I represent the chief and the tribal council and overseeing a lot of issues that we have within our communities or any problems that may occur, or working out issues or bringing things to attention to the tribe like this. This is something about flag raising. I understand. I'm also the chair of the Commission of Indian Affairs for the state of Massachusetts too. So I hold a lot of tribal titles. So today I'm just representing my tribe and not the commission, because Rhonda Anderson represents Western Mass. At one time I did, before Rhonda was a commissioner in Western Mass. I grew up in Southwick, not too far from you. But today I requested to forge, after speaking with my chief, that we'd forge a relationship. You can't hear me?
Sorry, I did something wrong.
Just restate one sentence. Yeah.
So I'm here today to forge a relationship with this committee and the town. I don't think that I know of that you know much about my tribe. So in order to have discussions, I thought it was best if you're gonna raise a flag on behalf of my tribe, have a better understanding of who we are. And so I want to provide you with that information. I mean, to make sure it's a fit for you. This is something that for any communities or any organizations even, we don't take in if we don't know them. I mean, what's the sense if you don't know us, right? So it sounds beautiful. I think in the emails that we had received about that through Rhonda, I believe, of raising flags in different communities. If it's going to be our flag, we would like to let you know who we are, and to see if that's something you want to do. It's not something that we really partake in, unless it's something that we already have a relationship. We do have flags in different communities and different towns, but we have established relationships for them to raise our flag. I mean, I wouldn't raise a flag if I didn't know somebody or the people. And I'd be happy to provide you with all that information and to understand who we are as a tribe. And one of the first things I was going to suggest to you is to go to our website. And there you would know who our tribal government is, who our tribe is, who the people are, who you should be actually having relationships with. And so the town would know who we are, and say, what's that mean? Having a flag up, we don't want to be a token. So we're not going to have our flag raised if nobody knows exactly who that tribe is. It's good in gesture, but if you don't know us, why bother if you're not going to have a relationship with us? And that's not trying to be mean. It's just, it makes sense, I think. And I think it's a beautiful thing to know who we are, as our people would love to know who you are, and have an understanding of your needs and our needs, if there is any, or just having the town relationship. Do you agree with that?
Yes,
Definitely.
and even more so, I'd like to know what the connection is of the
Asamanisco land, and I'd be happy to provide that information with you of who we are and our relationship with the land over there, and any other clans, I would say, that lived in Easthampton. Like I said, I grew up in Western Mass in the town of Southwick. I've driven through Easthampton. I've done a lot of things personally as a kid in Easthampton, growing up there, all the way through in that area. But Central Mass is where our tribe is in. You can't hear everything?
Well, I was trying to say something.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, I can hear you.
So one of the reasons so I would like to know the relationship to this of Massachusetts, because I had read that it was the Nonotuck here. So I'm not sure what the relationship is. And I wouldn't want to offend another band of people who should be honoring and building a relationship with. So I'm most interested in that.
Absolutely. No problem. That's a legitimate question. So in Western Mass, there was several bands of Indians that lived along the Connecticut River Valley. And in the western side, on the other side of the river, from the eastern side of the Connecticut River, on the other side of Springfield is where you guys are. And so you had the Nanatuck, the Warrenoko names, all these names, Indian names you're familiar with. Congamon Lake, all those are Nipmuc names. That's our language, our tribal language. those were small bands of tribes. They're here today. So if you talk about land, you have to talk about today and the tribes that existed and survived European colonialism. And so one of the other tribes is the Stockbridge tribes. They were relocated. They left. They were up in the Berkshires, right? They still are here. So their lands are over there. They visited quite a bit up in the Berkshires. In Western Mass, there is no tribe in position anymore that live on the land. None. You have tribal people from tribes all over, probably. My family lives over there, always have lived over there, but we're originally from on the other side of the river. But is our language. A lot of our Nipmucks, that river there itself is like a nuclei. That's, the Shad come up. You got the Abenakis a little north of you, by the Vermont line. And they actually came down into Turner Falls. And so you have Abenakis down there, probably all the way to Northampton. And then you have the Pecumtucks that were in Northampton. Any archaeological digs, identify those type of people at that pre-contact time. The plague killed them. Really, it wasn't a war or anything. It was mostly the plague. And so those are our relatives. They're our cousins. As a commissioner, I do repatriation of the remains when they're dug up, in your yards and things. And then we try to get them to the tribe that represents that area. And so we would make a determination of what tribe to give it to, whether it would be we would maybe contact the Stockbridge people over in Wisconsin. That's where they live now, with the Muncies. Or we'd contact, as a commissioner, I'd contact the Nipmuc. Or, I'd have to talk to our commission. We're 7 members, so it's not just my decision. It's a decision of the committee to decide where that ancestor goes, because those are the living native communities. And then that's one thing I'd like to share with you. There's a lot of people that don't represent, that say they do. And so one of the things I want to share with you is our website, and any questions you may have, like you have now. The best way to get the right answer is going through the right, because a lot of people try to muscle towns, and I understand that, and that's not not the right way to do it. They may demand contracts, land acknowledgement. They don't really represent anybody, and without looking into their background, they may try to pull one over on you. So that's how we try to work relationships with you. And to tell you these things, I'll give you my tribe's website, and you can look at all the people that are involved, the chief, who the tribal council is, and our land, and what we do as a tribe are the things we do for ourselves without help. And then the Commission of Indian Affairs, also in Massachusetts, in Boston, will also guide you. We have a website that would help you if you have questions. If somebody's saying, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that in demanding ways, which sometimes isn't necessarily true. But to answer that question of land, those people in Easthampton itself, the Nonotuck aren't here anymore. They're gone. So you would have to, if your choice, want to, because it's all about want and need. It's not about sympathy for us, because we still are here. We still are living. We survived. And if you want to be part of us and help us, that's called forging a relationship. Like I said, we don't normally do it, but if it's something you feel comfortable about doing, we certainly would love to do that. And maybe someday we would like to have a need over that way or something. If we did pull up a remain in somebody's backyard or something, and we'd ask for help with that and support. It hasn't happened. So, and maybe you want to acknowledge us and raise our flag, but I would think you want to know who we are and what we're about and what we're doing today, because we're here. You don't know how many of us there are? There's 2,000 plus in my tribe. And we do things over that way. We have burials out that way. But like I said, we also have neighboring communities as well that are there, but we kind of represent that area. So do the Abenakis. We kind of work together. We're not against each other. And the Stockbridge, they're not here. They gave up a lot of their rights in Massachusetts, but they're still here. It's their original lands over in the Berkshires. So we still work with them. And they come down and they're a federal tribe, state tribe. We are the tribe in Massachusetts. We're the only state recognized tribe acknowledged. There are many tribal tribes in Massachusetts, but they're not all acknowledged. They're on our website, but we're working on a process right now to do that with some of them that may qualify. But there's 2 federal tribes in Massachusetts. That's the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe. That's a federally tribe, and that's on the Cape. And then there's the Aquina tribe, and that's on Martha's Vineyard. And those are the federal government tribes. The whole different game.
Are you saying the Nipmuc or the Hassanamesco?
Hassanamesco is Nipmuc. That means people of freshwater places. That's our language, Hassanamesco. But we're the Nipmuc band. Hassanamesco Nipmuc band. I'm going to give you the website right now. Do you mind taking it down? It's www.nipmucband.org.
Right.
And
There's
Chief,
another one.
Chief Cheryl Holly was in the email. So, and she was actually willing to give you the, I think the print or something of the flag if you wanted to use it. So she had given approval of the flag, but she thought it would be, wanted to know why you wanted it and, and have that relationship. That's what I had that discussion in our tribal meeting. And I said, why don't we see, if they know anything about us or want to know more about us or want to have a relationship with us. And she said, sure, because normally we send a letter out to someone saying, what do you know about us? Why do you want to give our flag? It's not something we do unless we have relationships with you. And a relationship could just be communication,
That's questions. I have 2 major questions along with many other questions, but we won't have time for all those, and I should read your website. But one question is what does a flag raising mean to you? And is it at all fitting with your culture, or is it almost offensive? I don't know.
And that goes with what my question is, which is, if a town were to come to you and say, we want to be able to acknowledge you for the month of November or whenever it is, what would you recommend to us that we do? Because I don't know about raising a flag. I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah, good question. So we didn't ask for a flag to be raised. It's really about a relationship, of the land. So if you're going to raise our flag, I would suggest having a relationship with us, or why would you do that? That was my first thing in the beginning. And I'm not trying to sound mean. You know what I mean? Like you just asked me, why do we didn't ask for a flag to be raised. What the flag means to us, we do have flags. It means the land. So our flag in Grafton, Massachusetts, which is the only tribal land that was never touched by colonialism. We have the only piece of land in the country that was never touched other than by treaties or something else. The land in Grafton, it's not big. It was the last parcel of land, if you read about it. And we have a museum being done over there. You'll see that on the website when you go there about our tribal land there. That's the nuclei of Nipmuc. We have over 23 bands originally. We have only maybe 4 or 5 bands, Nipmuc bands. You might have heard of the late Shibanaganamug. one of the largest lakes in central Massachusetts. It's in Webster, Mass. It's a beautiful lake. That was a band, one of our band names. That one means you fish on your side, we'll fish on ours. But that's so those are some of the different towns that Lake Quinsigamog, the town of Quinsigamog, and the rivers and all those. Those were all our languages. Were people in freshwater places. We were what they called a praying village, praying Indians, all the way from Natick to here to the Connecticut River Valley. And we were colonialized and Christianized by Eliot. And he wrote a Bible in our half, and he took one of our people and taught him how to read and write and convert our language and called us praying Indians. And we were peaceful Indians until the King Philip War came. And then we had an uprising and, the burning of all the way to Deerfield, all those stories, those were our people. And we're the survivors of that. And so really just peaceful, trying to get our language back. These are the things we do today because we weren't allowed to do those things before. We have a lot of ceremonies we do now as a community and a tribe. We protect the earth. We're stewards of our lands. And so those are the things we could help with you, being stewards of the land and protecting the land. Today the earth is a mess and a lot of problems. We protect it. That's what we do. And we have our own farms now, and we raise our own produce and things, and we're growing more and more because we couldn't before as a tribe. And so, and we do have relationships with towns that do that and support that with us. And that's when the flags get raised. Because then they identify we're working with the community. So if we're going to work with you to raise the flag, that means, you know who we are and we know who you are, and we'll have that same support like any type of committee would do. And I know there's this Indigenous People Day stuff going on, and a lot of Native folks want that. They want to be acknowledged, and a lot of them are individual Indians who want to do this and fight over things. But our tribe just wants to do it the right way for us. It's not about grabbing things and land grabs and stuff. It has to fit for us. I mean, why do it if it doesn't fit for us having a relationship? Or you know, we don't demand anything. We just want to know what you want, and maybe it's something that works for us, or is it just a flag going up? Yeah, that's all. I mean, we're very peaceful, opening. We'll answer any question you have about us or any other tribe or any other individual that might even bother you. And we'll get it through.
So Troy, that's actually my question, because I see this flag raising and then I hear you. But what I would really want to know is if the city really wants to build a relationship with you, what would be the best way to start? It doesn't sound to me like it's raising a flag. What could we do that isn't just about the 4 people here, but what could we do that would be significant in the city to give life and form to this reality of who you are and what your presence and history means to people?
Well, that's education.
What is it
that would be education, right? You need to know who we are. And it starts with going to our website, looking at the folks that are there, and maybe saying, hey, listen, maybe our school has an education program. Can you come down? You have educators, which we do. We can talk about, the Native culture over here. What are you doing today? Maybe your students want to know. A lot of people think we don't even exist. Before you raise our flags, for the town to know, at least have some programs put in place to know who we are. And they have Nipmucks. I know that there's Nipmucks that live in our town. Oh, we didn't know that. Oh, they're still making wigwams. And what's a wigwam? What are their shelters? how do they? What does Nipmuc mean? Do they still fish in the rivers? How do they live? Do they go to school? It's not only about the past; it's about the present, and it's about the land and that kind of thing. It's that kind of relationship. Education. Just having your folks maybe want to know. Well, what is Nipmuc? We're going to put up a flag. What do they want? Well, we don't want anything, but if you want to know about us, we'll tell you. And how do we do that? By classroom or maybe a program. And we do the old traditional stuff, but it's also about today. Where are we today? What are we doing today? How are we educating our own kids? Where are they? Where's our farms? How many parcels of land do we have today? Did we have 10 years ago? What didn't we do 10 years ago? When I was a kid in the 60s, I couldn't do anything. Just be Indian. That was it. So those kind of things. That's all education. And then what laws changed in that process to get us who we are. I mean, it's fun stuff. It might sound a little scary, but it's what's happening in Indian country today. Really is. There's good and bad in everybody and everything, and I'm going to say that to you, and including our people. So that to find the right people to talk to is a good thing for you, and to forge that, because we're constantly stopping the predators and the ones who want to exploit us, and they're not the right ones talking to you. So I just want to throw that out there to you, to keep that in mind. You did contact the right people. And Rhonda's a great person to give you all that information as the Western Mass Commissioner of Indian Affairs. So,
I don't know, I was rotating during the speaker, but Troy, so yeah, you've mentioned Rhonda and Cheryl. I'm wondering if any Nipmuc live in Easthampton now. I'm sorry if you said that and I missed it.
Oh, no, I don't say what town, but there's a lot of Nipmucs. My family lives in Western Mass from Springfield. I grew up in the Southwick town. There's a lot of my relatives live there. My brother, Ashfield, Larry, I think he was in the email because he's part of Ocotillo. He's that Rhonda's group that she started, nonprofit, I believe. Ocotillo is a cultural center for Native folks, which is beautiful. That's in Ashfield. Yeah, so he's over there. He's a very great educator. Knows all about the land. That's my younger brother, Larry Mann.
Okay. I also met recently Liz Coldwin Santana Kaiser.
Yes, Liz is of the band Chibunaguggamug. Yep, she does lectures in community over there. Yeah, she's a different band member, but she's of our Chibunaguggamug.
This was at a protest to save the Connecticut River up in Northfield.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. So when you see protests and things, it's not just one; it's many people. I don't know. I wasn't part of that. I don't know what it's about, so I couldn't speak for her.
It's a group of people who are fighting Northlight, who are destroying the Connecticut River with a reverse channel. And Liz came and read a beautiful poem.
Oh, great! Yeah, I mean, you'll see that, and especially out there in Western Mass. Western Mass is still kind of virgin territory, compared over the Connecticut River. I mean, colonialism really did something like in the Boston area. It's just all city and urban. You've got a beautiful piece of land I'd love to see protected. And, I know, and so is my hometown. Southwick's grown so much, I couldn't fish the same way I did as a kid over there. So being stewards of the land, those are the discussions we have all the time. So of course people would protest if it's something really bad that occurs. And then, if you have things like that going on, it'd be helpful probably to see a Native person speak about, good things like that, the water sources. So water is the biggest topic for Native communities throughout, we say Turtle Island, but throughout the country. So, yeah. Okay. I mean, just really, I would just say to close out, I know I don't want to take all your time, but you go to our website, feel free to email me. Feel free to email the chief. I mean, you can raise our flag. We don't care. But if you want to have a relationship, that's another story. You want to just talk with us, questions, we're here, and then that could throw into other things, like you said, who else lives here? We can look that up for you. I just don't have it in front of me.
Right. Okay.
If you want to know about your town more on a native perspective, we can give it to you.
Okay. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think,
That's wonderful.
yeah. I think
That's wonderful.
we have some homework to do and
Some thinking to do.
some thinking to do and some brainstorming to do, and I appreciate what you've shared for sure. Very well taken. Yeah, for me.
Oh, thank you. And I appreciate you reaching out to us and having that opportunity to continue.
Yeah.
And feel free, any question, I'll be there. I'll answer your emails. Chief will certainly answer your emails as well. You have it. So.
Okay.
And if you want to ever meet the rest, then that's certain, we can do that too.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you, Troy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And,
All right. Have a great night. Look forward to seeing you sometime.
Okay.
Rodney, thank you.
Bye. So, seems like,
This flag raising event, to me, it's like the time, it's like what gave birth to a knee is not enough. When you just raise a flag seems such token.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, without anything else, it seems empty. For sure.
Right. Yeah.
But to have a program in place.
Yeah, some kind of a program.
Yeah, exactly. Letting them tell us, and maybe especially kids, what it means to be a steward of the land.
And maybe have a program where we invite the community.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, maybe it could be something like a day where people come and they talk to people in the schools, but then we have a gathering that we invite everybody to learn about where we live.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think that'd be nice. Do it sometime in November, I guess, or October.
Yep.
Yeah. I wanted to ask where the closest Nonotuck member lives. Are they still alive?
He was saying that there are individuals, but people were wiped out.
As a group, I don't know that they're organized, but
Right.
I just sent you guys a link to a map that's been recommended to me before, which shows this area, Nipmuc, Nonotuck, and
Yeah.
Paconotuck.
I looked at
So,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Justin, whose name I can't remember, is Native American, but of what
Oh,
tribe?
we don't know which tribe.
The artist,
Yeah.
Justin Beatty.
Yeah, but
I think
also,
he's from the West.
okay,
Yeah.
there's also at International Women's Day this year, we invited a woman whose name I can't remember right now, but she does the most extraordinary paintings of Native women and girls who've been disappeared and
Oh,
murdered.
with the red hands.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she lives around here too, and I wonder what nationality she is.
Her art has been exhibited down in Holyoke at the what's the name of that place?
Well, it was also at UMass, and then she
Oh,
came
okay.
to our annual Western Mass Code Pink
I'm just
International
thinking that
Women's
they
Day.
might know if we contacted
No,
that.
we know how to
that gal.
contact her.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't know.
No, we do know,
I see.
because she was part of an event that we organized for
misunderstood.
International Women's Day.
Yeah, there's also somebody who's working on a land thing up at the as part of the Orange, the farm school. They have a section of that now that's that is dedicated to sort of a farm project related to Nipmuc Reclamation. My kid knows them, but I, thought that were of interest, maybe.
Did I understand him to say that we could get in touch with them and they would be able to say who actually lives here? Is that what he said?
Individuals? you mean?
Individuals, yeah.
I didn't hear that, but maybe I missed it. Did you hear that?
Not really. I recognize the name of Rhonda Anderson. I think she's in or near Amherst. I would think that if people who live here volunteered to come and introduce themselves, then that would be one thing, but to provide names of people or whatever, that.
Oh, I didn't think that's what he would do. He would ask people if they wanted to be in touch with us.
Well, but I think that makes sense. That way, if they're willing, then they can introduce themselves.
Nobody's gonna go handing out names and phone numbers.
No, I didn't think so.
No.
So I wasn't sure what your question.
Yeah, because it's.
It's just that if we wanted to know who lived here, they would be able to provide that information. And my assumption is they wouldn't just give out the phone numbers. It would be
a permissive thing, hopefully, yeah.
it would be, they're interested in getting to know you. Are you interested?
Right.
Anything else to say about that topic before we move on?
So what are the next steps?
No, I think.
Yes, I don't think we should.
Well, the next steps is, I think, for us all to look at the website and then maybe brainstorm on an event and then discuss that at the next meeting.
May I make a motion?
Yes.
And my motion is that rather than a flag raising event, that we learn about the Nipmuc and then get in touch with them to find out from them what specifically might be appropriate as an event or activity.
Do you feel like we should make a few suggestions on what we could see? I feel like it's sort of burdensome to ask them what, like, he already gave us some ideas,
Right.
education and things like that. And his younger brother's an educator. Like, I feel like we shouldn't necessarily ask him again what
Okay,
would be appropriate.
So I'll modify
that.
that we educate ourselves and then come up with a mutually agreeable event
Yeah.
or program.
Yeah.
Would that be a second?
Sure, second.
Okay.
Well, because I just always feel that we shouldn't walk away with these things without an idea of where we're going.
Exactly. No, you're.
Yeah, that's what we're
right.
just doing, this next steps,
Yeah, so that's why I made a motion.
I see.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Great.
All in favor?
All in favor? Yep.
Hi.
Well,
Okay.
did you want to do I don't know, I guess, fine.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
even maybe we don't need a roll call if they can see us from up there, but
Right.
I don't know.
Sounds like all four are in favor of
Unanimous.
reviewing the website, thinking of ideas, and then inviting them back for another discussion. Sounds like.
No, that's actually not my proposal,
No.
that we study,
So,
come up with ideas, and then propose an event to them
After the next meeting.
mutually. Well, because we did propose an event and that's what we got. So what it is that we come up with a mutually agreed upon program
Right.
event.
Right, absolutely.
yeah, so kind of the way I had it written down is that we educate ourselves, learn about the Nipmuc, and get in touch with them in order to come up with a mutually agreeable event.
Yes,
So
simply stated.
that's what I have as the motion on the floor, second by Marla.
Right. So
And unanimously agreed.
I think so.
So in the culture where I come from, next steps include like who, what, where, when, what, you know?
Right, right, right.
So this is a little bit too
Too vague.
vague for me.
Agreed.
Like I think by the next meeting, we should review the website and maybe think on our own of some good ideas. And then at the next meeting, throw out our ideas amongst ourselves and then invite them to speak after the next meeting.
Wait, we
Speak
say
with
invite
us.
to speak. Well, yeah,
Not to
does that have
speak,
to
not
be in a
speak. No,
meeting?
No,
No, I know, I know.
Oh, maybe not,
Yeah, that's what
actually.
I'm
Yeah.
Well,
thinking,
we
you know,
might
like,
figure out what our requests are, right?
Right,
I mean,
right.
he seemed to suggest an educational component, so
Right.
it might be that one of the, there's things to read that we don't know what's there yet.
Exactly.
And we may have ideas that arise out of that.
Right.
And then we can think about what's an appropriate proposal, also presented as humbly as, would this work for you? I mean, what's the idea of a flag raising? So we have this idea, and how does that sound?
Right, so at the next meeting, we can discuss ideas and then from there determine next steps and who exactly might get in touch with them and who would get in touch with and
Right.
all of the tasks thereafter, but.
Just to clarify, in my culture, first you make an agreement and then you decide who's gonna do it. So it's
Okay,
not
okay.
different from what you're saying. You don't
Okay.
just,
Right,
like, but I'm action oriented.
yes. Okay. So does that sound good? Yeah. Okay, so next was gonna be announcements, is that true?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, okay. So, simply that, Jenny Papa George from the Easthampton Learning Foundation and I met with a member of Essential Partners, which is an organization in Boston, which has been recommended. Someone that Jenny knows highly recommended Essential Partners as a group that can help communities of different threats, whether it's schools or organizations or a whole town. Like Newburyport was one of them. And to help them discuss in a more open way, with less division, topics such as racism, guns, reproductive rights. And the next step is for Jenny and I to have a follow-up conversation, or invite her here. I did invite her here for our next meeting, since we couldn't get up on the agenda for this meeting necessarily. Nothing could be really decided, but I wanted to let you know that. And if you want, I have information about Essential Partners here. They also have a very good website.
Yeah, one thing I wonder if, so this is a terrific idea. And after the meeting that Marilyn has had, we know it's an essential idea.
Right.
But if we wait, invite somebody to a meeting, hear what they have to say, and then decide to do something, it's gonna be Christmas.
I know.
So can't we decide that we would like to have a training with her, we would like to do something with her,
Right.
and then just schedule it?
Right. I'd like to say yes, but initially, a chairperson of another committee was invited to be part of this. And I don't think it should just be for us initially. And they have, they don't necessarily just come in and do trainings. They train facilitators who then go out into these different parts of the community and spread around I can't talk about it. I don't have the words. I'm so sorry. This is
But you're being
not-
clear.
But yeah,
She's being clear, right?
yeah.
I think so.
But things that they help communities with are, improving discourse about divisive issues, social cohesion, community building. Apparently they have really good track record. They worked with Mount Holyoke, they worked with Smith, they've worked in the town of Newburyport, they did something in Wellesley, like, they've been around for 30 years, apparently. Yeah.
So why can't we just decide that along with whatever the other
Right.
commissioner is, this
Mhm.
is something that we want to do, and then just go about setting it up,
Right,
you know, instead of
Right.
having a meeting to talk about doing it.
right.
I mean, because we are having a meeting to talk about doing it.
Right, that's true. I guess I feel like we need to get Jenny Papa George here for sure, or we need to at least talk with her offline and figure out. It's not necessarily a training where you just like say, you know, on this date people come in. It's somehow different than that.
Right, but
So,
I
yeah.
mean, but why do we,
So I would need
I
to
mean-
know.
if we all agree that it's a good idea,
Uh-huh.
then why can't we just go ahead without having another meeting for us all to decide that it's a good idea? Do you know what I mean? We can just
Right,
delegate you or somebody else to
Right.
begin
So,
to make it
except-
happen.
Right, so what if Jenny, like I haven't been able to talk to Jenny since we had the meeting with Essential Partners, because it was only on Thursday that we met last week. And for all I know, Jenny has found another, or actually something she heard.
I don't know
in the
who
meeting.
she is. I'm sorry.
She is the, she's from the Easthampton Learning Foundation. She's
Oh,
like,
she's not Essential Partners.
right,
no,
she's
no.
not Essential Partner.
She's the one
She's-
here who wanted to
Right.
also do it.
Right. and
She's
the
affiliated with the
mayor-
schools.
Yeah, I think she's affiliated. with the
Learning
school.
Foundation is a school foundation, right, to raise money for the schools, isn't it? Or is it something else? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar.
I can't remember.
Okay.
Actually, but the mayor put me in touch with her and this other chairperson.
With Jenny Papa George,
Yes,
who is
with Jenny.
not
Yes,
Essential
right,
Partners.
exactly.
Yeah, this is similar, yeah, to other educational foundations in the cities around here where there's like a nonprofit that exists to raise money,
Mhm.
to give out grants
Mhm.
to, mostly to school teachers, people who propose projects and that, you know, so that there's like a more, there's more money going into the schools for different kinds of activities that's like not government, public money.
Mhm.
So that's what they do. So I don't know, maybe she was trying to support like, I don't know, the tension that's going on in the schools now.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Mhm.
Do you have any idea what,
Yeah, I believe
what
so.
brought it? Yeah.
Okay.
So could we delegate somebody to? I worry that we just meet once a month and then we have ideas and then we have to follow,
No, I
Mhm.
know.
you know,
I
So
know,
what was your hope for
exactly.
what we would walk out of here with that? kind of
It was just an announcement because,
topic?
because
We haven't talked to her yet.
I haven't talked to her yet,
Mhm.
right? So, I think what I was hoping to walk out of here was agreement that it would be great to invite Jenny Papa George to speak with us. And maybe if another, you know, counselor or, chair of another committee was able to come to our next meeting or an ad hoc meeting, we would discuss, you know, what we would do next. I also don't think they're inexpensive, right? And I don't know what percentage of our budget would have to go to it, and would it have to be solely out of our budget, or could it come out of another budget somewhere? So.
What if we met somewhere in the middle with the two
Okay.
kinds of proposals that are going on here about this, that, you know, maybe, I don't know if you want to keep this or whether you would be happy to delegate it to someone else, but
I
that
love the idea of
person-
keeping it.
I was thinking she should delegate it, to someone else, not me, but to, have a follow-up, to get in touch with Jenny, Papa George, to have that initial conversation. What were they thinking?
Yes.
Outside of our meeting here, so we can make a little more
Right.
progress.
Right.
And then after that conversation, some of our questions, maybe today, what we could do is brainstorm questions we have. And then that person could go with those
Aren't you
questions. Not anymore.
Here I am.
Anybody
Let's
else.
just go ahead, and you're like,
Right.
maybe, how do we do this?
Right. Right.
Anymore than it was.
Right.
No, it's just, thinking about, how to kind
Yeah.
of meet in the middle.
I know.
And then,
I know. Yeah.
we could do that before the next meeting. Cause I think sometimes when we invite people to our meetings, we don't dig deep enough because we're constrained by all the time factors we have here and
Right,
other agenda
right.
items and
Right.
procedural things that we
Yeah.
can and can't do inside a meeting. But if we could get the information first,
Right.
in an outside thing, and then that person could bring it here, then we could figure out maybe where the next ways to go. Well, how's that sound?
Sounds good. Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay. So, you're welcome to keep it, but
Right.
we
Right.
could also delegate it.
I know,
Like I
I know.
said, not to me, I can't do it right now, but.
Right.
And not to me,
I guess because I
because you're already
had the
there.
meeting with them, right, last week, I feel like I should
And it
keep it
just
for
seems so
now.
new.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I'll keep it for now. So I'm sure I'll be able to talk to Jenny in the next few weeks. So, yeah,
Okay,
yes.
so what about your idea of coming up with questions? Is that something we
Yeah.
should do here, or is it something we should go home, think
so
about and?
we could send them to Emily.
Why don't you send
What do
any
you think?
questions you might
Yeah.
have to me, but
Yeah, that's a good idea. Save
yeah.
time.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We haven't had public speak yet.
Yeah, we need to go back to
Luckily, we
that.
don't have any public on. So.
You
And the
can
next
say,
announcement, what was that?
oh, I'm sorry, is there a further announcement?
Yeah, one more announcement, just
Okay.
that I did have a meeting with the Northampton CRC, and a chairperson from the Sunderland HRC. So I should say Northampton HRC and the Sunderland HRC member or chair, about the 75th anniversary of the Declaration of Human Rights. To hold an event in December, possibly December, around December 10th, because that is the date of the 75th anniversary. The Sunderland member decided they had other priorities. Northampton still wants to do a combined event with us. But there's some change in membership in the Northampton HRC right now. So I need to hear about their meeting with their mayor, before I can give you any more information. That's that. I guess I would like to know if anyone has anything against the combined event with Hampton's HRC.
I don't know if it's a priority. Is it a priority?
I know, I feel like we're gonna have to start
When is
making
it?
a list of
When is it?
priorities.
When would it be?
December, probably.
Christmas?
Yeah.
I'll be away.
How long are you away?
Well, supposedly for about 5 months. But I can meet by Zoom from Cuba.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I panicked for a second there. I was like, what about our quorum? Yeah, okay.
I know, you love me for my quorum.
I don't know.
I just gotta say.
One more hot body in this room. Okay. Okay, anyway, that's that. No more info on that. Public speak.
Wait, actually,
Yeah.
I have
Oh,
an
yes.
announcement. It
Okay.
occurred to me that I should make this announcement.
Yeah.
So every year for the last 30-something years, there has been a commemoration of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And in 2017 or 18, at my behest, we moved it over here from Northampton and had the first years, it was a wonderful coalition of local businesses and organizations and events. And then, and the city got involved. And last year, I went back to organizing it after a few years of not, and I ended up organizing it by myself. So I said never again.
Right.
The mayor was going to be involved this year, but she's expecting a grandchild in August, so she's not. But it's not completely abandoned because every year the children at the library and from Treehouse decorate the lanterns.
Mm-hmm.
And then what usually happens is the lanterns get walked down to the pond. The nuns and monks do a peace walk up from Holyoke, from the, New England Peace Pagoda.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a program of music, dance, paper cranes. Mount Tom provides a special ice cream. Nancy Jennison plays her flute.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And Valley Paddler gives us a kayak, and somebody rows the lanterns out at dusk while everybody lights candles.
Really? Here?
Here, right there.
I totally missed it.
Yeah, well, maybe you go away in
Wow.
August. It has been wonderful.
Yeah.
And this year, because nobody was willing to work on it with me. And I was new here, and frankly, I thought that was probably the last thing we needed to take on.
Mm-hmm.
What's gonna happen is the children at the library are gonna decorate the lanterns, which fall apart. And then they love to do it. And they're all in my basement. And then either at the traditional dusk, or if the library thinks it should be earlier in the afternoon, we'll have a walk down from the library to the pond. And if they have a teenager, the teenager will kayak them out.
Uh-huh. Great.
And if not, I'll kayak, worst comes to worst.
Yeah.
But they're quite beautiful.
Yeah.
And it will be on the anniversary of Nagasaki, Wednesday the 9th. Yeah.
Has Ann Prescott been involved in that with you?
No.
Okay. She lives in Easthampton and she's a director of the Center for East Asian Studies at 5 colleges. And she's actually a Japanese music specialist. And she's done a lot of teacher programs about Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
The library also has a display every August. But no, she hasn't been.
So I'm certainly not against commemorating such a horrific event and acknowledging, war and destruction against people. And yet, do we do such things to the destruction of Native Americans who lived here? Do we do any events? We haven't yet. So commemorating,
Well, but we are going,
Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
but we are now going to
But
do
now we are
something.
going to, right?
Now
right,
we're going to.
right.
But what was particularly nice about this in the first years that we were doing it is Luthier's was involved, Parks and Rec was involved, the city's been involved, the library's been involved,
Right.
Treehouse has been involved,
Mm-hmm.
Prosperity Candle has provided it. I mean, it's been this wonderful, and then a lot of individuals.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I'm not proposing that we take it on. I just
Yeah.
wanted to announce that it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Very
Okay.
nice.
And that,
So right now, which organizations are involved? The library.
That's
and
it.
That's it. Okay.
the library, people will
Okay.
come over from Northampton, but they decided rather than help with this one, they would just do their own in Northampton
I see.
on Saturday at midday,
What did you say the date was?
August 9th.
That's nice.
So it'll be the library and the, Sister Claire and the monks from the Peace Pagoda
Okay.
and Tree Hub.
Okay, yeah. Great. Thank you for that announcement.
And there's a woman who's been part of our group forever now. She's a doctor in Springfield who always makes paper cranes. She sets up a table over at the park and makes paper cranes with everybody. So she may come do it at the library if she can. And then the library has a wonderful display of books, which is another thing that we can do as part of the project that we're going to develop with Nipmuc.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
particularly as there might be something in the historical archives in the library.
Yeah, I like the idea of a community-wide, that where different points of culture get involved, whether it's the art gallery and film at Luthier's or EM Media, right? And the library
And stuff with
pond
kids.
and the park, yeah, all sorts of things. Good, yeah.
Where it's not just token.
Right,
The
right.
flag raising really was,
Mhm,
and I think he was making that clear.
mhm. Yes, he did make that clear. Yeah. Okay, so
So that's announcements.
we don't have anyone in the public on, right? Right. Okay,
That's right.
okay. So now we have 23 minutes to talk about procedures for our works. I think that's more important. And then, should we leave any time for reviewing the rule on attendance and membership? Or should we just?
Is that a quick thing? Are you just informing us of
It
something?
should be pretty quick, actually.
Is there an ordinance or a citation to something, some rule?
So you want me to switch to that one? Yeah, so section, I'll read it to you.
I'm too new to know what you're talking about.
So Barbara LaBombard sent this to me. And it's section 8.7. And it is, it's called loss of office, excessive absence. Can't remember where she found it from. Anyway, if any person appointed to serve as a member of a multiple member body shall fail to attend 3 or more consecutive meetings for all of the meetings held during 4 calendar months, or 1/2 or more of all of the meetings of such body held in 1 year, calendar year, the remaining members of the multiple member body may, by a majority vote of their number, declare the office to be vacant. Provided, however, that not less than 10
Yeah, we have
days.
to vote for it.
I know. And, but we need to give notice that we would be voting. And the person would need 10 days notice, and the letter would have to be sent by registered or certified mail.
Do we have to do it, or is it?
We don't have to, so that's what we can discuss. You know, since we have 2 other positions that aren't filled yet, maybe we should
Just wait
wait.
on that, yeah.
You know, I kind of doubt there's a triplet out there only wanting to join if there were 3 spots.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, right. For real.
So.
That's what I would recommend at
Yes.
this point,
Okay.
let's wait until if we need that slot and we still don't have attendance by that individual, then,
Okay,
we
okay.
could go with that, but
Is there no communication?
Not for me. I'm leaving it up to Rebecca because
I'm sorry?
I've been leaving communication up to Rebecca since she has
I have
been in touch
stationery.
with them. Yeah, you've
Oh,
been in
yeah,
touch-
Norman?
No, because you've been in touch with them more recently, but,
Yeah.
and you're the one he told.
Yeah, he
Um,
told me of his intention to resign. I think I told him how to at one point. But I'm always saying, I mean, here's a person of color. Wouldn't it be great if he came back? I'm always saying, happy to have your voice, but he feels busy. Okay, so I know that they had, revised the Easthampton Home Rule Charter in 2022. And I'm thinking I haven't seen this section before, but it's there now.
Okay,
So there it is.
there it is, yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, if I at least refer to, and maybe we will still discuss it down the road, but number 11, dialogue on race, see, Derek Dean had come and meet with us, and maybe I'm gonna mix 6, 7, and 11 all together, because I think Derek came back following up on his training of us and saying, you know, we had those polls and had certain things that we voted on that we were going to do. And so outreach is one of the like action steps, and to do something gets you out there and helps attract new members. And so there were these materials on the dialogue on race, and we had a conversation to the effect that we would want to, or we had some interest in involving the schools.
Right.
And I reached out to Jan because he works in the school. I know him because he was in middle school as a guidance person for children of mine. And he let me know that he found receptivity in, I think it was the vice principal at the middle school. And receptivity to the dialogue on race materials. And I think that, you know, I certainly focused in on the fact that the materials encourage conversation on, you know, who our target audience would be, and there's, Derek was saying there would be facilitator training, who the facilitators would be. And I think after a little bit of discussion that it seemed to me that, you know, it wasn't that we were giving it to the school, but we wanted to collaborate. But we really haven't reached that agenda item. So it's kind of, that's where it sits, that there's some receptivity there in the middle school. In the meantime, I found Cindy Mojica difficult to reach, but I'll still try, because I think we had wanted multiple things, like to work, it would be great to work with her or support what she does. And she might be somebody on the high school level that would be interested in the dialogue. So anyway, so I feel like that is all. So that's kind of my talking to Jan Norman. So he's our absent member. That's number 7, but he helped with that, the outreach to the school. And then I feel like how to approach the procedures for the work of the CRC. I mean, maybe we want Derek to retake the poll to see, or ask him, you know, talk to him about concerns that counselors have raised, some pieces in the ordinance that were not what the committee in the past voted as their priority, and see what he might have to say about that.
Can we go back a minute to the question about the dialogue on race?
Sure.
I'm wondering that if Jan Norman is in the middle school and the middle school principal is receptive, I'm wondering that even if, I mean, and I don't know, this might be out of line, but I'm wondering if maybe he doesn't want to have to come to the meetings, but would he be interested in working on that piece?
Yeah, he's interested in it. I feel like.
So we don't need him to come to meetings in order to work. I mean, if we could simply engage him in doing something that we would like, that we think the committee needs to do, that would be a great step forward for all of us, wouldn't it?
Sure. I mean, I think,
You know, to be able to say to him, all right, so you're not coming to the meeting, that's okay, but how about working on this with this principal? Is that out of line to say?
well, I think it might have been in line with the thinking that I had. So I was volunteering to think about reaching out to the school. And I thought, there he is. He's been a committee member, and he works for the school, and he's a person of color. And when I talk to him, I mean, what he tells me is very busy and I can understand it. I tend to tell him that his voice is valuable. And he did express interest in the dialogue on race. So I think what you said really is along all that, the same line. So if this
Because
is
who cares if he
something,
comes to meetings if he's gonna do something that's of that great a value to us?
well, and he doesn't even have to be a committee member to do it.
No, yeah.
But yeah, so, I think that, well, this was all within this time where we weren't having quorums, and so we've had a lot going on, but the question, if we get to that agenda item, and if we feel like, okay, we kind of know what our priorities are, then we would be scheduling, I think, a meeting with parties interested in being involved to answer those questions like, who is the audience going to be? And who are volunteering maybe to be facilitators? And, so getting some people to work with us and working with them.
How do we move ahead on that?
I think that, I don't know, I feel like there are so many ways, that I think things have been slow moving and maybe stymied but this is a longer history that, some people will look at some tasks and say these are more than a small committee can do. But that doesn't mean that person was correct. I think that if we feel comfortable, like discussion of procedures, I don't know if that's even an apt sentence, but if I don't know if you'd like to revisit things with Derek Dean or pick somebody else, but I feel like maybe if this committee, which is significantly different, would like to at least consider the training we had and maybe re-vote on priorities so that we know what this committee's priorities are. Then we know if the discussion on race is on the top or if it's number 5. Then we know if this, Nipmuc relationship, which sounds great, if that's on the top, or if we want to worry.
Very sensible.
Or if I think some points were raised with city councilors. Do we want to concern ourselves or maybe answer the city council about the kind of human rights, where should the townspeople submit complaints and who does that? And is that really aptly part of a committee like this?
It'd be all we did. I mean, just to that point. So, I and a number of other people, when this committee was formed, opposed it because we thought we should have that function. Right? We should have we should have that. Now here I am sitting here thinking, there's so much else that needs to be done. How can we even think about taking that on? That would be all, and the 4 of us, no less.
But if we were advisory, maybe we would like to advise on, of course, I guess what were facilitative, actually.
I really like the idea of helping us set priorities, because there's so many good ideas out there that we could do. How would we ever decide? And particularly meeting once a month and having busy lives.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I think, Emily, you wanted to say something.
Well, I was going to say, you just said again what you said last month, that there was complaint against the formation of the CRC or the identity of it. But number 2 in the ordinance of ours does say may receive and review complaints of discrimination, harassment, or violation of civil and human rights, blah, blah, blah. So that was in the ordinance for it.
And I said,
so why was there complaint?
But there's no point revisiting the whole, there's a whole long history.
Yeah, okay.
But it's
anyway,
just not even,
so that's,
it might be relevant still to some people, but I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's particularly relevant to me.
Right, okay. You said, and you also just said, we'd be busy all the time if we were reviewing complaints, but we don't have any complaints to review tonight, right? No one brought us any
Well,
tonight.
because if I didn't,
Once again.
if I didn't, I think part of it would be, we would have to put that out, we would have to like do a whole number on it.
Right, right.
You know, it's not just that, I mean, I don't know that people, I wouldn't
I
have known
think
to
that we
bring a
did
complaint.
receive a few
Over our time.
complaints.
Yes.
And I would say that people didn't necessarily have a good experience with that, so that not receiving them doesn't necessarily mean there's not a need.
Right, because we have no role in doing anything.
It hasn't been, that hasn't been effective, but I think we have had committee members who I think wisely say that needs more, because it really needs some support staff and a good consistent process, so that those can come in and be handled timely and well and fairly, and that we wouldn't meet a lady who said she wrote us and never heard back, remember?
Right.
So, you know.
Right. Yeah.
I just think, you know, three of you have been doing this for a while now, and you've seen people come and you've seen people go. And, you know, it's just been so hard to get things back off the ground, that I'd hate to see the committee burdened with more than we could handle right now.
Right.
And I also really like the idea that you said of having Derek or somebody come back and kind of like help us once again sort of figure out how to set our priorities. I mean, which is a version of what I've said from the beginning, reflecting the little that I know about this committee. But, you know, here I'm sitting here and I'm not sure what to do next.
Right. Well, so I think that I'm feeling that I got personal value out of the training that we received from Derek Dean. I also feel like if we took the poll again with the current membership, we might get a very different result, or at least a somewhat different result than we had gotten from the prior polling. And I think that matters.
You mean a poll of us four?
Yeah, so he had polled anonymously the committee such as it was as of whatever the date,
Which was lots of people.
which was a lot of people,
8,
more people.
8, 9.
Double.
Yeah, like 8 out of 11.
Yeah, it was correct.
You all must have been in heaven.
I wasn't on it. I've only been on it for you.
Well, and I mean, we could look at what the priorities really were with a facilitative role, to do outreach to the community, to have neighborhood events to bring people together, to, you know, I mean, we were thinking of a forum, right? We wanted to get somebody in, and so none of that was that quasi judicial role where nobody chose, or at least the number 1 through 5 were not, oh, let's receive complaints and see how we can help people with their legal issues with the city. And that doesn't mean that shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that city people shouldn't have that, but maybe the question is, you know, maybe we could think about how it needs to be set up. Part of the materials, I'm pretty sure in the material folders, there's the one about the mayor's work group, which was about policing, but that seemed valuable to me in terms of that group led by a really intelligent professor out of HCC, I believe. She agreed that the CRC would need staffing if it were going to do the quasi-judicial role. So I feel like, well, the city could consider that, but they need to consider that piece in a bigger way.
But in the interest of time, it seems to me that we shouldn't really get off in that, because we've got.
So that maybe.
So I think that that's something to be tabled, because it's not something that we're going to be acting on right now.
And it
It's this
wasn't
whole issue
even,
of a
yeah, so
judicial
that
role.
wasn't even showing
And
up.
we only have
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
So that wasn't even in the priorities of the previous poll. So that leaves whether we want to be advisory or facilitatory or both. And the facilitation, I feel like, is, helping educate the community and facilitating dialogue and that kind of a role.
Are we on number 6, discussion of procedures for the
I
work
don't
of
know
the
what we're on right
CRC?
now.
I know, I don't know what we're on.
Well,
Because I thought that's what we were.
I kind of lumped them together because I felt like the discussion with Jan went into number 6 ultimately. So yeah.
So we've talked for, I don't know how many meetings now, maybe since the one with the counselors recently, about inviting somebody to help us, like, kind of start again from ground up, like you're suggesting. And I, for one, am totally in favor of that. Let's just move on that.
Make a motion.
Okay, so my motion is that we invite Derek Dean or somebody else you see fit to come and help us, like re-situate our goals. Now, we did invite him already. And
Okay, I second that motion.
okay, there you go.
All in favor?
I'm in favor.
Okay, motion's passed.
All right.
So how do we act on it?
I will
Keep
call-
going, Marla.
I have a phone
No, you
number.
hadn't finished.
Well, no,
Marla
I
hadn't
was,
finished.
if people want Derek, great. I mean, last time he kind of
want
said to
Derek.
us, well, just do stuff and people will
Right,
come.
right.
And I'm like, really?
And people did come to Luthiers.
No, I mean members.
Members.
He meant members would join if we show up and do stuff in the
right.
community, as far as I
Yeah,
understand.
I think you
But,
did say that, yeah.
Well, now we need to set the
Anyway.
priorities of what we're going to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
And-
So
and-
let's do it again with
You
him.
know,
Let's reach out to
let's
him
have him help us. I mean, let's make up a work plan,
and let's,
you know,
2
and
minutes to approve the minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
let's do that priority setting and then let's do a work plan,
Right.
for the fiscal year.
So I have a question. Do we want any of the counselors to be part of the setting of priorities?
I
It's
think
only
we
up to
should.
us.
Because I feel like, I
Like-
mean,
Like
they are
said
trying
they
to
were gonna be
support
bringing
us and they're
things, right.
supposed to be like getting more members and stuff, and we
Right.
haven't heard from them since.
Right.
So-
The problem with, in my view, their input is valuable, but the 4 of us have to do the work. So I think the 4 of us need to set the priorities. And then we can,
So what if?
and then we
right.
can ask them to come and review and critique and add to it.
Maybe, although when they met with us that last time, it felt like, they came at it from quite a different perspective than we had.
Right, right. And they apologized for not bringing us things that they
More
could have brought to
business
us. And my
yeah.
concern would be that we would set our priorities. We'd set, spend a few months setting our priorities and then suddenly they bring in things that they want us to do. And we don't have time to do our
Well,
priorities. or
But what I was just saying is
Yeah.
that we go through the process of understanding the priorities and then we invite them to join the process of setting the priorities and then turning that into a plan of work for the coming year. So that we know in November, we're gonna do X, in December, we're gonna do Y,
Mhm.
next April, we're gonna be doing Z. And we have a whole plan.
So I'd like to throw this request out there. I appreciate your motion. I liked what Derek Dean did. I'd at least like to reach out to him personally, invite him to our next meeting. And I'd love for all of you to ask him all of those and tell him what the counselors have said and what our concerns are. Because I feel like the idea of human rights committees and community relations committees do seem to come from the Community Relations Service of the Department of Justice. So I think he's in a good position to field our questions and talk to us some more. I think, I would have questions for him about our range of choices and what the ordinance says and see what he has to say.
he
And
knows our
see if
history,
we
too.
should do 1 or 2 more trainings. Note that we have some membership changes and if you're okay with that, I would love to, I've got his number, I'll give him a call.
I've loved Derek Dean. I've been in favor of him all the time. I just think that we should go about the business of setting some priorities for the coming year, bring the city council in, and then make a plan of work
Mhm.
so that we each know what we're doing and we don't just keep
Right,
meeting
right.
to talk about what we're going to do.
Right. Right. So I have nothing against inviting Derek Dean. It seems like there's a real desire to do that. But I also don't really see, playing devil's advocate here, why can't we look at these 8 items on the ordinance ourselves and decide what we think the priorities should be? We're the ones that live in Easthampton. Like, why can't we look at these and say, you know what, for the next 3 months, we should focus on item 5 and 6? You know, in a way. That's why, one thing I'm thinking.
Well,
Well, I felt that, after the conversation with the counselors, it felt like we needed to kind of reboot.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I came away from that conversation
Mhm.
feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that meant they seem to be telling us we should be doing all of these things, which of course isn't realistic, but then that's
Right.
where we left it.
Right, right.
So,
Yeah.
for me, I just don't know where to go from there. When the counselors are
Right.
saying all 8
Do
things,
all
you
of
should
them.
do them.
Right,
And we have the 4 people and,
right.
it just doesn't seem to me to be a viable way to move forward.
Yeah.
So that's why I was thinking if somebody like Derek could come and help facilitate really those, what
Mhm.
seems to be a fundamental, to me, kind of blockade we're up against. I mean, we've been
Mhm.
struggling with this for how long?
I
Even
know.
before you came, Mary, and
Yeah.
now
yeah,
with you too.
Yeah.
We thought it was gonna be magic. We got our quorum and then we were just gonna move forward, but
I know.
that has not happened.
see, I actually think about it rather differently.
Okay.
Because I come out of a community organizing model. I come out of a activist model. I mean, and I'm not saying that you all aren't activists or community organizers, but to me, I read these and that's actually not what I'm talking about. So what I would say is, all right, study the nature and causes of barriers. Oh my God. I mean, we could spend all day doing that.
I know.
Foster through education, public and general awareness and understanding of community relations and city operations. But what does that mean in practice? What does it mean we would actually do?
Right.
So we have dialogue on race. We have this Native American Day. We have this, we have that. What I'm saying is that we should look at all of those, things that we could actually do, and then we should say, and how does this fit into?
Right. That's what I wanted to
Right?
do tonight. That's what I wanted
Right?
to do tonight.
The other way around, right?
Right.
So of all the things that we could think to do to build a city that functions the way we hope it functions, what would we do and how does it fit into our mission? And that's what
Right, right. Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And so we're 2 minutes past. So in my view, Derek would come
Mhm.
and he'd help us think that through.
Mhm.
And then we would invite the city councilors to say, look, this is what we're thinking about.
Mhm.
What do you think? And then we'd make a plan.
Mhm.
We would do this in November and that. I mean, we would set some priorities
Mhm. Mhm. Right.
and we'd all know what we're doing next week.
Mhm. Which would be nice.
Well, and it would be great,
Mhm.
I think we're doing pretty well because we've had some unanimous votes.
Mhm.
It's great to have a meeting of the mind
Mhm.
so that we're like, yes, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this. I feel like, I was remembering that book Getting to Yes a while ago because sometimes it seemed like no, no, no.
Right.
And I don't mind tabling quasi judiciary, which is humongous, which seems like a stopper. So, hey, that's just in the way,
Right.
And if we're deciding, let's do,
Mhm.
I think these are wonderful things. So,
Mhm. Yeah. Okay.
so I think that we can get to a meeting of the minds.
Yes.
Promote strong neighborhoods and community connections.
Yeah.
So we've talked about these neighborhood meetings. You say, that's number 8.
Right.
Where does that fit into our, so we would also have to be able to envision what will make this community stronger. so that it's not just the good ideas that we have, but if we do this, how is that going to accomplish what we're trying to do?
Right.
And how does it fit into here?
Right. I'd like to take a second and ask you all, did you see in maybe the Easthampton calendar that maybe in October, the Arts Committee has got this fabulous plan to like have gatherings on people's porches with music?
Oh, yes, they're having, we're having a porch.
Right,
Do you know what? That's
exactly.
brilliant. We should have a presence there.
yes.
Yes, so I
Yeah.
might
See,
say,
okay, on this list of priorities is interfacing with other committees
Mhm,
of the city
how about,
to say, how do we serve each other?
mhm.
Which you're doing with the.
yeah, so
with
how about,
this difficult
so
conversation.
what if we establish and or improve our relations with the arts,
Mhm.
especially, oh gosh.
Is it City Arts? that's doing it?
ECA, you mean?
Easthampton City Arts?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I feel like I've,
Pascagoula?
Pascaline, yeah.
Mhm.
You know, in the very beginning, I met with Pascalina
Mhm.
once, and this was after all that about the knee is not enough. So she wasn't impressed with us, but I met with her so she could tell me
Well, that
about,
was shorthand. Go ahead.
I met with her so she could tell me about Roberta's rules, because she thought maybe we didn't, maybe it's not necessarily necessary to be terribly strict about Robert's rules and meetings.
Mhm.
Anyways, I listened to her about Roberta's rules.
Roberta's rules.
Yeah, and I have to say, co-chairs of the time didn't really want to hear about it,
Mhm.
but we could bring that up again. But it would be nice to improve that relationship and see, yeah, can we
But see,
support that?
Okay, so here we are. This is round two, just since I've been here. Round one was cultural chaos. No communication, no time for us to plan. It didn't happen. Now we've got round two, which is a porch festival, which is a craze taking over the nation, right? Porch festival.
Right.
But
right.
that's kind of porch
It's great.
neighborhood.
It's great.
Neighbors.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so here's round two. We need to get in on the ground floor and
Mhm.
say, hey, this is great.
Mhm.
This coincides with our
Mhm.
neighborhood, whatever. And then, but we have to know what we're gonna do at it.
Right, okay, so when is it again? Do you remember?
October, right?
Is it Oct-
No, I don't
I
remember.
feel like it's
Coming
fall.
up too fast.
I feel like it's fall and I wasn't, I like did a word search in my email on porch,
Mhm.
trying to find it. And it's not as easy as I thought.
Well, I got an email about it.
We
can
all
look
got
it
these
up,
emails, but
Why don't
what?
I offer to contact Pascalina about that, since I already did contact her about the cultural chaos. So, unless someone else wants to. Why don't I contact her and tell her that we'd like to have
Easthampton
a
Porch Fest.
table, or
Here
we're
it
gonna
is.
have our own little band in one of the porches.
Maybe we just say
I
we'll help.
think that we should go
Sounds like
around
drums.
from porch to porch. I think we should go around with literature, with surveys,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
literature and surveys.
We're gonna
You know.
a rest stop with surveys.
Well, because at each of the different porches, we could be there and we could say, we're your community relations council.
Mhm.
And here's what we're designed to do, because we will have come up with some
Mhm.
more
Mhm.
popular based version of this.
Mhm.
And here's a survey, what are your priorities? And it fits right in with us coming up with our work plan.
And let them
It's
know
September
any upcoming
30th.
events.
September 30th.
Okay. Okay.
Porch Fest is coming to Easthampton, inspired by
Yes.
cultural chaos after party.
Oh, boy. On people's porches. I was not invited to an after party.
I know. Yeah.
That brings neighborhoods together. I mean, we should be throwing Porch Fest.
Oh, I know.
But
we've
I
been
just
wanting
thought,
to, but
this
have you
is-
seen the list of like tasks it would take to do it?
Yeah, there's a lot of work.
Yeah, well, this is actually the film, list of tasks that was done for the February event.
Oh
but
my God.
but Marla's list for the neighborhood parties is nearly as long. Yep.
So Marla, you've already designed it. The only thing that you didn't include was, no, the only thing that you didn't include was the porches and the music.
Yeah.
Well, what I did was look at what other towns were doing about, you know, like promoting neighborhood gatherings of this type, what they had on their websites. Kind of from that, coming up with a list of what we would have to, questions we would have to answer, research we would have to do. I put together what I could find. I shared it with y'all. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it,
Yeah.
but,
Huh?
I shared it with you all through email. Yeah. Oh, before our previous meeting, because I thought we were going to talk about it, but, that's fine. It's, you know, it hasn't been a priority, but, you know, there's a lot to kind of do because there's lots of questions in our context that need to be answered. But this is great. They're doing
But see,
it, and
but you know what?
we should just support it and not.
We could have. So, I mean, that's the thing. To try to think of that kind of a creative approach to it is really great. You know? So that, and maybe if Pascalina would work with us to come up with a plan where we would do something that was the community meetings that combined the arts.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think we should.
I'm jealous.
You're jealous?
Yeah.
Because you like to come up with ideas?
No, I'm jealous because Porch Fest could have been our community, our neighborhood
Our
gatherings.
first neighborhood gathering, right? Well, we can
Well, it's all different neighborhoods.
hurry
Well,
up
let's
and do it.
see. It doesn't say
September 15th or
here.
something.
It's all different neighborhoods.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't say who's applied, because you have to apply to become a porch, to be a host location. Yeah, so I mean, do they have a lot of people signed up? I don't know.
I've been to the Porch Fest in Montague, which the town center for Montague is quite small and you can walk it easily. And yeah, there were probably at
No, it's
least
in New
4
City.
porches.
This is in New City only.
Oh, it's in New City.
New City neighborhood, yeah.
Yeah, there's
So,
been,
yeah, I was gonna say it's-
there's, I knew about the Somerville one. There's one in Shelburne Falls and one in Quincy.
Okay, well, we need to vote on minutes and then end this meeting.
So you're willing to talk to Pascal?
Yes, I'm gonna talk.
Because, you know,
Yes. I wrote it
if
down.
she were open to working together, that would be so much better than being jealous.
Yeah, exactly. That's,
Well,
just
I'm-
support
you know,
them, yeah.
I've already forgotten I was jealous. It's just, but it's just an example of,
What a fun idea though, huh?
Mhm.
well, that's
great.
my point.
Yeah.
Why can't we have fun ideas?
Mhm.
Well, we do. We just have to get them off the ground.
We just
And
only
you
have
know-
4
And
people. How many
and
are on your
Marla, I'm
committee,
looking
by
for
the
your
way?
thing.
The fun idea that you had to
Mhm.
do what we did at Luthier's, that was fun.
Right.
I'm gonna need to go in 5 minutes, so,
Yeah.
can we focus on the minutes? Sorry to, yeah.
So I read the June minutes. They looked fine to me, Rebecca. Thank you.
Yep,
Mhm. So I would vote to approve the June minutes. Is there a
I make a
second?
motion
Oh,
to,
you make a motion.
to approve. Can we do both at once? We have to do one at a time.
Maybe I don't even know. We,
Yeah, I don't even know.
we have a
Let's-
Well, I
history of
second.
doing them one at
I
a time.
Okay,
Maybe one at a time.
one at a time. Okay, June, we're doing first, June 6th, is whatever it was.
Mhm.
Okay, seconds.
Seconds it.
Yeah,
Okay.
everyone in favor?
Everyone in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And what was the other one, the May?
Nay.
Okay.
Those are the ones I just sent out last night.
I
Yeah.
move to approve the May minutes.
Second,
Everyone say aye.
I,
Okay. Approved minutes. It's exciting.
So
when's the
our,
next city council meeting?
Oh, yeah, who's going to that next one?
Oh, good question.
I think it's the beginning of August, right? They only meet once a month now.
do
I
that?
was informed in the summer, they only meet once a month.
Mhm.
So the next one must be beginning of August. I don't know when it is.
I should go, but I do not promise to meet for to stay there for 3 hours.
Yeah, I can't
Have
find
no
out.
reason to.
nobody has to do that.
Well, that one, yeah,
Yeah,
would have stayed anyway, but.
yeah.
But when I went.
Well, I tell you what, it's probably my turn to go, so why don't
Oh.
I kind of figure out when they're meeting and
Oh,
then
okay.
email you
Let
confirming.
us know, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let me
Thank
look
you,
at my
yeah.
calendar. It takes me
Okay.
too long right now.
And can everyone get to the next meeting on August 1st,
Yes.
Tuesday?
I will not be here physically.
Oh, that's
I will
right.
try to come virtually. I can't guarantee it at this point. I'm gonna be.
No quorum for us.
Well, we need
Well,
more
so-
members, because, you know, it's too much to.
And you're contacting Derek
And
Dean,
is
or
it-
was I, you were going to do Derek?
You have plenty
Okay.
of people.
Mhm.
I wanted to take at least one off your list.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean, either way, but sure, I'm
Yeah.
happy to call.
okay.
So.
So
Something's
would someone like
unfinished.
to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
How about I second? Oh,
Okay, whatever.
Marla, would it be
Okay,
easy for you to forward me that again?
Yeah, I will try.
How about this? All in favor of adjourning?
All in favor of adjourning,
So-
say aye.
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 So we're adjourning at 8:46.
Great.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.